I have the weight problem. I also have a binge eating problem. If I want to fix my binge eating problem, that means that I have to ignore weight loss, because trying to lose weight makes me obsessed with numbers and restriction. That makes binge eating a bigger problem. Is there a way to fix both, or do I need to fix one after another? Now, as a weight loss and food addiction coach, this is one common question that I get asked a lot. So here's the thing. You cannot fix the binge eating problem. If you still think that in order to get healthy, I will have to restrict myself. In other words, if you still believe that food is the enemy, okay, that's a threat to your wellness and your self-image. Because in that situation, your relationship with food will always be bad. At the same time, you won't be able to solve the weight problem if the binging problem is not gone. Because that just means that it's a matter of time for you to get out of control. There isn't a sequence here, because both problems can be solved at the same time. I think when people say, in order to fix the binge eating problem, I'll have to stop thinking about weight loss or ignore the problem, there's a deep level of misconception here, which goes like, food restriction is the only way to lose weight. Food is the enemy. What if that's not the case? Because I've seen this for 10 years. As I'm in this business of helping people regain food freedom and a healthy weight. The fact is, your body comes with a natural ability to course correct shedding the excessive weight if you activate to do it. And I'm saying this because I've helped people get this kind of results without restriction or even thinking about calories, macros. They don't mind it. And when you don't mind it, you can come to this place of detachment and neutrality, which is a precondition for you to have the food freedom. I said your body naturally comes with ability. That ability is deeply tied to how you're programmed to experience, process food and eating, metabolically, physically, and chemically. And I'll give you an example. A lot of people who have been struggling with weight problem or lifelong dieting have this common issue of not being able to recognize exactly when they're full, not because they don't come with these abilities, because body, after such a long time of suppression and deprivation, have lost connection with their inner signaling, their inner meters. If you lost this ability to stay connected with how you really feel on a physical level, then you're exposed to the risk of eating the wrong amount of mostly the wrong food on an ongoing basis, just because this meter is no longer working. There is also a situation where people who are addicted to sugar, they lost the sensory acuity as to sweet level in sugar, and their taste buds have been trained to tolerate and being okay with it. Another example is your brain. When it comes to an idea about, let's say, the chocolate, whether it's automatically turning the thought into a trigger that triggers craving, or is it treating it as a thought? How are you psychologically wired to react to food or the thought of food is also another important element of accomplishing your weight loss journey. Okay, so think about a person who is constantly out of control because physically he is programmed to always overeat, cannot stop finishing the plate day after day. And he's also neurologically wired to want more sugar without sensing the level of sweetness accurately. Or we're talking about somebody who is psychologically programmed to turn every food thought into an immediate craving with great impulsivity. That person is bound to have a weight problem. And on top of that, the person, if you are already overweight and have been struggling with weight problem for years, chances are you might be experiencing chronic inflammation as well, which holds back your metabolism by messing with the hormones and creating inner stress that makes you overeat. If you're under all these influences all the time, of course, weight is going to be a problem and you have no control of it. It has nothing to do with restriction. The key solution will be reactivating those sensory, chemical, and physical metabolic patterns that are going to take you towards the opposite direction. When you become the person who has a natural ability to eat the right amount of the right food, and you're naturally favoring the right food, and you're naturally repelling, like both psychologically and physically, and your body is repelling the overdose of sugar just because it makes you feel so bad, you won't want it. So everything just comes naturally in this way. That's why I said, if you activate these abilities, weight loss is actually a part of the body's self-adjustment escapement mechanism. And if you think about the past, when you were maybe 5 or 6, 7, if you still remember, you didn't need to count or restrict yourself in order to know you're eating the right amount of food, right? When you were a kid, before you started this dieting journey, you were able to leave the table without a lingering thought about food when you're full and you didn't have the weight problem, right? So when you are able to let your body's programming take you, you will need to rely on restriction to get the results. Actually, restriction never works. And you've already seen it from rounds and rounds and rounds dieting. It always comes back. So back to the original question, fixing binge eating and fixing weight problem, do they contradict each other? Not at all. Not at all. Which problem should I fix first? The two actually go hand in hand, different sides of the same coin.